Beck and welcome to the Big Books tag. And I think the way this works is that I look at both of my TBR and my physical reads, and I look at the biggest books on both of those lists, and I basically compare and show you my shame. However, I generally combine those things, not my shame, I mean the reading lists. So on Goodreads and my physical TBR, I just keep a shelf for both, and my TBR is what I own. So I'm just going to talk about the books that I have that are really long, that I own, that I really want to get to as soon as I can, because don't we all say that about our TBR? Let's be honest. So on this list, most of them are 500 or more pages, but I'm going to start with Justice of Kings, and this one is 496 pages according to Goodreads, and I only got it this year. So as far as that goes, having a long book on my TBR and only having it this year, I'm pretty happy with that. And I know that this is the only book out in this series at the moment as well, so it's not like I'm massively behind, but keep an eye on this space because that statement is definitely going to change based on the other books on this list. But at least with this one, I am in a good space for it. So hopefully I get to this by the end of the year. I do really want to finish it this year and I don't want to take it into 2023, but ultimately I've had that goal before about a bunch of other different things, and that hasn't always happened. So just cross your fingers because I want to try and make it happen, and we'll see how we go. All of these books will be linked below because obviously if I haven't read them, I can't really give you a detailed synopsis. So go and check out the Goodreads links below if you want any further synopses. The one I just talked about is an adult fantasy, and it's told in a reflective narration about a character who experienced things with her mentor at the time and then is looking back at all of the shenanigans that went on, as far as I'm aware. Next up, we have a popular one, and that is Shadow of the Gods by John Gwynne, and this comes in at 505 pages. And for some reason, I look at this and it feels longer than it actually is. I'm not sure why, maybe because John Gwynne's Malice was over 600 pages, so I'm just projecting my thoughts of Malice onto this page. I don't know. Either way, I want to give this a good crack mid to late this year, and hopefully I can also start it very soon because I'm kind of apprehensive about this given that I didn't love Malice, and I'm like, I really want to love something else by this author. So hopefully this kind of Norse inspired story about gods and wars and stuff gets me going because I really want to like it because it's so hyped. But I've gone into other hyped books and I've not liked them as much. So I'm really crossing my fingers that this is for me. Next up, we have a book called Battle Mage, and this is part of a trilogy, and this is 512 pages. It doesn't look like it. This looks shorter than Shadow of the Gods, maybe because this is the B format paperback, so it's smaller. I'm not sure, but that's just really messing with my head. Apparently this is about a battle mage, which I feel like is a kind of wizard, and then we've got a common soldier, and then we've also got a princess and spy master. And so it says on the back here that magic and mayhem collide in this explosive fantasy book. So I'm really hoping that this is fast paced because again, I really want to like it. And with all of the books I've talked about so far, they're beginnings of series. So mid to late this year, I guess I'm going to start a lot of new series, but this is an adult fantasy, I believe, as well. So no easy, fast-paced young adult for me, apparently. All really hard yards, a lot of pages, adult fantasy, but we love it. And it has absolutely just started pouring outside. So if you could hear it, I am sorry, but it may get darker too. So I'm going to try and power through this video. Next up, surprisingly, is actually a sci-fi book, and it's not the first in a series, unlike the others. And it's book 3 in the Expanse series, which is Abaddon's Gate. And this is about 539 pages. And I've both seen reviews for this saying it's incredible, and then also seen reviews of this saying that it's not as good as book 1 and 2. So I have absolutely no idea how I'm going to feel about this because it's a massive world of science fiction with different planets and different humans from different kind of almost genomes because they're biologically different based on the different gravity of where they've grown up. So it's all about this interplanetary kind of on the cusp of a war and these politics that are overflowing and this crew that you're supposed to kind of stick with Jim Holden as the main character, and you've got this kind of found family aspect but also this massive war. So there is a lot happening in this series, and that's what keeps it moving for me. But I'm really hoping that more is explored in terms of the world building in here, because there is also a virus that is doing very interesting things. So I'm hoping for a little bit more explanation of the virus in this book, because it's been in the other two, but I just like to see more of it because that's what fascinates me. So this is one that I am hoping to read in June, but I think I'm going to get bogged down by a few other different things going on, so maybe that won't happen. But either way, I want to read it because it was part of Reagan from Peruse Project's favorites, and I reacted to her favorites, and this was on my TBR, so I got quite lucky that I already owned something she'd read. So I'm aiming to do a reading vlog for her favorites, and that will be in that vlog. So cross your fingers because it needs to happen this year. And now I bet that you thought this would probably be the top of this video, but no, it is the second last book, and that is Ruin of Kings, and this comes in at 705 pages. And again, this is another fantasy book, and I think it's got demons and possession and magic and cool stuff, and I'm looking forward to it, but I also haven't put it on a TBR yet because I'm rather intimidated. I know this requires a lot of brain space, and I think if I read this on audiobook, all of the names and terminology and everything is just not going to sink in, so I know I need to read it physically, and because of that I have been kind of skirting around it in fear because I don't have the time to just dedicate to this, or so I perceive, because I want to finish a lot of books, and if I just dedicate time to this, I'm not going to get the page length going in other books in order to keep my reading momentum and tally up, if that makes any sense. I feel like when I'm reading a longer book, I tend to feel like I've slowed down, whereas that's not always true. I'm obviously still reading. But anyway, that's a whole shambles for another time. Moving on, this is my second last book for this video, so I wonder what the first one is going to be. It really surprised me when I was looking this up on my Goodreads because Kushal's Dart comes in at 1040 pages, and you would not expect that based on how tiny this is. The tiniest may be the mightiest because this is very, very long. I think it's longer than some Brandon Sanderson books I've read, which is saying something. So if I get to over 100 pages of this and I don't like it, then I'm going to put it down, because I've been told that it's not urban fantasy necessarily, and it's also kind of romance, but maybe a bit of BDSM in there as well. And so now that I know that going in, I'm not going to be surprised. So I hope that I like it, but I'm also just really apprehensive as well. I'm apprehensive because of the content and the length, whereas in Ruin of Kings, I'm just apprehensive because of the length and the brain power. So there are a few things on this list that I'm worried about starting, because in some cases I feel like I might not like it, but in other cases I just know that it's a lot of time to spend. So if there's anything big on your TBR like I have, let me know. Maybe we can cheer each other on, or just collectively avoid our problems until they go away. Who knows? Thank you so much for watching this video though. I'll come chat to you down below in the comments, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.